Before I'm updating my TVs with a newer firmware, I make sure that there is no known issue, because in most of the time the firmware updates here in Australia are a little bit later than in the rest of the world, so I can make sure that there is no ongoing issue. Somehow my QN95B had the auto update enabled and it just updated to the latest firmware 14.03 a couple of days ago, and since then HDR Gaming on this TV is just completely messed up. So let me just quickly explain to you what I'm talking about. This right now, what you can see, is grounded on the Xbox Series S, and maybe on your screen right now it does look okay, but not what I can see with my eyes. Because on the screen right now there's almost no proper HDR effect. It really does look very bad. It really looks like this TV is not capable of doing any HDR over 600 candela. So the first thing what I've checked, of course, was my HDR settings or my picture settings, and I found it is as it should be, or as it is always. So then what I tried is the ST2084 settings, and I found, hey, there is no difference anymore. And usually you saw a big difference when you change this value. And of course I tested a couple of things, and then at some point I realized I have to turn contrast enhancer to low or high to make this setting working again, gamma ST2084. As you can see right now, I can change my gamma level again. But this is not how it should work, because with contrast enhancer on, in my opinion, the whole picture is not very nice to look at. But this is just my opinion. At the moment you have to turn it on actually to get a proper HDR picture out of this TV. But again, I find that now the HDR picture is just not showing a lot of details in specular highlights, and the overall picture quality is just very bad. And the next thing what I checked was the game HDR settings in the game mode settings, and we're talking about this menu here, HDR tone mapping, and usually game HDR should be ticked, and as you can see, there is no change anymore when you untick this, because unticked means dynamic tone mapping on. Game HDR is more like HDHE as on the LG TVs, but there's still tone mapping happening in the background, but it is better than leaving it unticked. But as you can see, there's no difference at all anymore. I found that now you have to turn off HDR10 Plus Gaming to make this working again. And now you can see when I'm unticking or ticking this box, there is clearly a difference in the background. But again, I still think the HDR picture, but I need to do a little bit more testing to be fair here. The HDR picture is really not very good at the moment on the QN95B. So please do me a favor and make sure that auto update on your TV is actually disabled, and it really doesn't matter what TV are you using, make sure this is not ticked. And I'm very sure I have done this on my QN95B at some point. I'm not quite sure why it was ticked, and I actually confirmed it was ticked at this stage, and I don't know why. So I just hope that Samsung is, when you do a firmware update, not setting some settings back to the factory settings like the auto update on the TV, because this would be a very bad behavior in my opinion, not from the TV, from Samsung, because I don't want that my TV is updating automatically. I like to choose when and if I update my TV. But now it's unfortunately too late, because HDR Gaming on my QN95B is messed up at the moment. I mean, it's still usable and it doesn't look too bad, but certain functions are just not functional or usable at this moment, and this is a no-go. Samsung, where's your QA? Quality assurance, quality control. I can tell you there is nothing, because otherwise we wouldn't have this problem right now. I'm actually very disappointed. We're talking about a high-end TV. I paid a shitload of money for this TV, and you're delivering a firmware update like this. Fix it now, because I like to use this TV as I used it before, and not with a very buggy firmware as it is right now, okay? So as soon as there's an update, or fix, I will update you on this channel, so make sure you like, share and subscribe. Thank you.